So today, if you have a chance, I'd invite you to go to Mark's Gospel and read chapter 5, verses 21 to 43. In this story, we see Jesus encountering people who are desperate. We first meet a father, Jairus, a synagogue leader, whose daughter is gravely ill, and Jairus can do nothing to make her better. So as Jesus joins him to go see the daughter, a woman follows along with the crowd, and she has had chronic bleeding for 12 years, and she has tried everything, suffering through promised cures and spending all that she had on empty promises of healing. Now, at first glance, Jairus and this woman have nothing in common. Jairus has status as a man and as a religious leader, while the woman's gender and poverty make her his social inferior, and her condition makes her untouchable and pushes her to the very margins of the community. And yet, they now share a basic human need and desperation that strips all of that away. They are in situations in which their power, their strength, their status mean nothing. None of that can help them, and they don't know what to do next or where to turn. They've exhausted all of their energy, knowledge, and resources. They are made equal in their desperate need. And it's in that shared state that both of them turn to the same place, the same person, Jesus. They don't quite understand, but they go to the one whom they believe brings healing and is a source of hope. And in their situation, we see true desperation and hunger for what Jesus can do for them. They care about nothing, about nothing but getting to Jesus. And we see everything else fall away. Jairus, he's a man of great dignity. He's the synagogue leader, but none of that matters. As we see a man of such station fall on his knees and beg the teacher to come and make his daughter well. This is perhaps something that this man has never done and perhaps would never have deigned to have done. But he knows his need and the need of the one he loves. Meanwhile, the woman who has been conditioned to keep her distance from others out of fear of making contact, now thrusts herself into this tight crowd, stretching out her arm for just the slightest hope of even grazing the hem of Jesus' robe. Within these two very different characters, we see desire, hunger, and yearning for the one and only hope, for people who will do nothing short of simply being in the presence of Jesus Christ. They don't know exactly what's going to happen, but they just want to be with Jesus more than anything else and know that he has what they need. Now, each of them at some point will be afraid to ask this of Jesus, to impose upon him. Jesus will feel the power come out of him when the woman touches his robe and asks, "Who touched him?" Now the woman who has now been healed is terrified, afraid that she will be composed because she's imposed, afraid that she will be condemned because she imposed upon Jesus, or perhaps that she even contaminated him. However, we find that Jesus simply wants to connect with her, to look her in the eye, and even to affirm and praise this act of faith. It's no imposition for the Son of God to heal what is broken in this woman's life. After this incident, messengers come to Jairus and tell him, "Your daughter's died. Why trouble the teacher any further?" Don't we hear that so often? Oh, don't be a bother. Oh, I'm sure that so-and-so has better things to do, or other people, they've got problems. Whether we don't wish to impose upon our neighbors, or even upon God himself. We carry around pain and burdens greater than any one person should ever have to, and yet are told that that is ours alone to carry. We're told that it's wrong to share these things, that it's silly to desire, to want, to hope. We're told not to bother others with our problems, and we're told that it's safer to harden ourselves to the disappointments of this world rather than openly share of ourselves and remain open to what God has to offer us. We remain cold and calloused, unsure of how to share who we are with God. And the same callousness that doesn't allow us to share with God also doesn't allow us to receive. But both Jairus and the woman refuse to let this be the end of the story. Because again, they know hunger, they know thirst, they know desire and desperation. They refuse to let hope die out. They accept Jesus' words, "Do not be afraid, only believe." Do not allow fear, dread, and cynicism to blind you to the fact that God is present and God is offering more. With that, Jesus goes with Jairus to the room where Jairus' greatest fears are lying there. Into the daughter's room, Jesus invites her, "Little daughter, rise up." And she does so, alive and well. This is a story of two people who have no choice but to be deeply in touch with their pain and knowing that they were not fine. And it's in that situation and in that condition that they desire Jesus above all else. Synagogue leader who was humble enough to admit that he didn't have all the answers and turning to this other teacher. And then a chronically ill woman's outstretched arm who no longer cared about the shame and condemnation of her neighbors, but just reaching out, straining to simply glance upon Jesus Christ with the tips of her fingers. As we go through our week, Jesus Christ is present. Jesus Christ has time for us. Jesus Christ desires to spend time with us. We can settle for doing fine, or we can allow ourselves to be in the presence of Jesus, to find the time, to be in touch with the hunger and the thirst, and see what he has to offer us. At the very least, the one place where we can merely be children of God and know that that is always enough. This story invites us to be bold and desperately hunger and thirst for an encounter with Jesus Christ, to fall on our knees and stretch out our arms for the one who can bring relief to what has afflicted us constantly, who will walk with us to the places where our deepest fears and dreads reside, and who alone can lift us up to new life. Let us hunger and thirst without reservation for what Jesus has to offer, knowing that he will never turn us away and will never turn away from us.